Tuesday, December 2nd, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. And we have a great show for you today. I'm your host, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer, Mike Bennett, for the day. No, Jacob.
Nope.
He's off packing boxes. He's moving. He's not going to tell me where. I don't know why he refuses to tell me where, but
he hasn't said anything.
He has to move, so takes the day off. Mike is filling in his chair on this Tuesday.
Yep.
We're gonna have a great show lined up for you today. Excited to guess the line at the end of the show. Stick around for that. But yeah, what do we got? What do we got for today? Who's gonna be on tap? Let's see.
We got a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, I love it. So we got Drew coming on. Gonna talk some NFL futures. Slightly recap Week 13. If you missed Drew's segment last week, we kind of he threaded the needle perfectly. We talked about the Lions, the Rams, and the Colts being maybe questionable in their division, saying, hey, there's a path for them to maybe not win their division here. And all three teams lose. Perfect threading of the needle. So we got some good prices there from last week. I also asked him to bring an NBA future. If he found one, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Maybe not, though. It's a little bit of a tighter market in December here in the NBA. Matt Winick's going to come on, talk some college basketball, recap the week that was in Feast Week. Is Michigan deserving of the number one seed? Do we feel like they should be the number one? Talk a little bit about some teams, ranked teams in trouble, St. John's, Florida, Houston. Look at some Big Ten games today, then talk through the ACC and SEC challenge. Then finally, close the show out with Rob, talk through some NFL market moves. And yeah, he hasn't texted me today. Maybe he's still sleeping. But,
he's definitely sleeping.
Yeah. So maybe he might not come on. We will see. We will see.
We'll carry the show.
We will see. All right. Also, Edge work overtime. How could I forget?
Yes.
How could I forget? I could see the people in the chat already getting super excited over that. All right. Before we get into things, before we bring on Drew, just want to quickly remind you guys that our friends over at BetStamp, if you guys like to bet and bet top down, you're going to do so with BetStamp Pro, because with football in full swing and basketball back on the board, now is the time to lock in the BetStamp Pro prop screen. Pro is built for high-level bettors who need to spot and scale up edges fast between NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and daily NBA action. Prop markets are more liquid and prices are sharper than ever. So the window to exploit inefficient numbers is right now. You can't do that without a hyper-efficient true line that shows you the real market price in seconds across 150-plus outs, helping you find and hit scalable edges. Don't wait. The opportunity to capitalize on the prop market is right now. Visit betstamp.com/hammer or scan the QR code to apply for a demo. Spots are limited during the season. All right. Let's bring him up. Let's just dive right into things here. He's an NFL, NBA, and tennis handicapper. He's a betting analyst for NBC Sports Bet. He's also the co-host of the Deep Dive podcast. Drew, how's it going?
Doing well, man. This is the best time of year for the NFL, the month of December, where we start to kind of see the playoff picture, but it's a little blurry. And then every week, every game, it gets, into a little bit better focus. Holy smokes, what a slate this week, especially the primetime games, man. Like the Dallas, Detroit, it's an elimination game for Detroit. It's, in my opinion, opens the door for Dallas to steal the 3 seed. The fact that we get to start out with that on Thursday, and then Sunday Night Football is Houston, KC, potentially an elimination game for KC, and then Philly trying to bounce back against the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Like, these are all such good games, and I'm not even kind of touching on the main slate on Sunday. There's some good ones in there as well, but the home stretch here, and all of every week we have really high profile, really high leverage games, particularly in the NFC. And this whole month of December is going to absolutely rock.
It's going to be absolute chaos. Love to see it. And those Sunday games you're talking about, Chicago, Green Bay, Houston, yes, Kansas City, Cincinnati, I guess not really Cincinnati, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Indianapolis. I was like, wait, Cincinnati. No, they're out there. Yeah. But yeah, the Detroit Dallas game circling for sure, because Detroit's super banged up. Lot to talk about here when you talk about the playoff picture, though. Really looking forward to it. But quickly, before we get into things, how was your Thanksgiving? Hopefully you had a great time. I know you're in Canada. Was it good? Talk us through it.
Unbelievable. 75 degrees, full sun. The water was pristine visibility. Paddling around on my paddleboard, you could in 60 feet of water, you could see clear to the bottom without even having your face in a mask. Like the wildlife was cooking. Everybody was happy and healthy. And yeah, it was a really fun time. Did a bunch of free diving, a bunch of paddling, and ate well, drank well, won some bets. The Bears won. Everything was good.
Perfect. I love to hear that. Happy for you because it's currently like -3 degrees where we are right now. It's snowing.
And snowing.
It was impossible for me to get in today. It took me like an extra 30 minutes, but I know that you had a good time, and that's what matters.
Hey, man, it makes you enjoy the warm weather that much more, right?
It definitely does. It actually humbles you a little bit. Anyways, let's dive into things. Let's talk about the playoff picture here. Let's start with the NFC because, like you texted me, the NFC is the wild, wild west here. A lot is going on. I don't even know where to start. Lions are banged up. Green Bay has some defensive injuries here. Bears might be at the top, especially with the win here. Rams are lose last week, opening things up for Seahawks and San Fran. Tampa and Philly, they keep winning, but it feels like both teams are like held together by duct tape. And Dallas and like shockingly, the Panthers are like nipping at their heels. Talk us through this playoff picture. What do you see here? Anything you like, or just your general thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. Let me just paint the canvas for you. You ready? The West is loaded. There is a very real world where 3 teams finish with 12+ wins. That is crazy. And I'm not even saying that the Niners are an especially good team, but the way that their schedule breaks with all of these soft games, until week 17, it is very, very favorable for them to get to 12 wins. They are still very live for the 1 seed, in my opinion. The Seahawks and the Rams don't really need any qualification. I think everybody's known for a little while that those are the top 2 teams, or at least in the mix for the top 2 in the NFC. And then, if 2 wild cards are NFC West teams, which feels very likely right now, that means there's only one that remains for the NFC East and the NFC North. I think we can very, very confidently say only one team is getting in from the NFC South, and that team is pretty much drawing dead in the 4-5. But the fact that the Cowboys are now kind of back in the mix for a playoff spot makes 2 teams live in the East. And the fact that the Bears continue to win and are knocking on the door of 11 to 12 wins makes them live in the North. So 4 teams for effectively 3 spots is extremely fun. Someone will be left out of the party. I'm not even counting Detroit in this mix. I've basically written them off, which is not fair, but that's where we stand with them at 7-5, and their next 2 games against the Cowboys and the Rams without some of their most important weapons on offense. Like to me, they're drawing dead, which means that 4 teams fighting for 3 spots, and there is a very real world where an 11-win team is out of the mix in the NFC. That is exciting, especially now that we are to an expanded 17 field. It's crazy. I personally think the team to keep an eye on is Philadelphia. The most fun scenario possible is that the Cowboys win this game on Thursday night, and then they're a Final Four. Oh baby, we got the rails are greased. We are headed for a Cowboys team finishing 11-5-1 if they beat the Lions. And right now I'm projecting Philadelphia to finish 11-6.
Wow,
which would flip the NFC East in favor of Dallas and put them in the 3 seed. Philadelphia at 11-6, also not having the tiebreaker against the Bears, problematic. Bears, I think, could very well finish 11-6. So yeah, there's a world where Philadelphia still misses, and that would be chaos would just absolutely reign. But there's also a world where Philadelphia gets the 1 seed. So that level of uncertainty makes this extremely fun. I basically think you could take the top 8 teams in the NFC, shuffle them, spray them in any order, and equally likely that they could get the 1 seed or be left out of the playoffs. And that's about as much fun as you could hope for this time of the season.
Yeah, really got to keep your eyes tight on this playoff picture as well, because there's so many moving parts here. It would be almost like poetic if like both Green Bay and Dallas make the playoffs, and the reason why Philadelphia doesn't is because of that tie that happened like early in the season. I love
tie is 100% going to matter.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, and it's funny because considering where Dallas was like earlier to start the year, like they were just looked dead in the water, but now CeeDee Lamb comes back, their offense is humming. They use the trade deadline to build out. I mean, say what you want about the trades that they've made this year. They have like a competent defense now, so they can definitely cause some havoc in the playoffs. And I want this team to make the playoffs because they have such a fun offense and a defense that can, like, you know, not lose them games. They could be like a very sneaky, fun team in this.
All right,
playoff
real quick lightning round.
Let's go.
My projected seeding right now, most likely seeding.
Yep.
Winner of Rams Seahawks gets the 1.
Okay.
That's next week, obviously, not this week. Loser gets the 5. Green Bay gets the 2. Dallas gets the 3. San Francisco gets the 6. Chicago gets the 7. And Philadelphia is 8th and out.
Incredible. All right. I love that. Look, because Philadelphia, again, like I said, just held together with duct tape. Oh, what about you kind of skipped? Did you mention the 4 seed here? You kind of skipped over it. You think Carolina can up? It doesn't really. They might listen. Both teams
don't care.
Oh man, yeah. Both Bucks and Carolina are likely going to be like pretty large.
9-8 wins that division, maybe 10-7. And I mean, the Bucks are obviously so hurt. It's tough to see them finding any form that they're realistic contenders, but their schedule is pretty soft on the way in. They play the Panthers twice. Those games are coin flips. They probably split. Panthers on a good day are good. On a bad day are atrocious. So really tough to handicap them. And again, I think either of those teams in the 4 seed against the Rams, certainly against the Rams, maybe against the Seahawks. You're talking about at least 3-point dogs at home in the 4-5.
Yeah. All right. Let's flip over and talk the AFC, which is a little less chaotic, but like kind of just as chaotic, considering like what we knew as like I'm going to call them the blue blood AFC teams over the past couple of seasons, where like they've been the dominant forces. Baltimore, Buffalo, KC, they're all kind of creeping their way in and not as secure as we expected them to be in the preseason here. There's so much going on, so many moving parts. I guess I kind of want to look ahead and talk about some playoff pictures. But before we talk about potential playoff matchups, how do you see this playoff picture shaking out?
Yeah, I think you're qualifying it correctly in that it's a surprise. Where we're headed is a surprise. This is not the world that we expected to find ourselves in, considering who we thought were the elite, no doubt, good quarterbacks coming into the season. But whereas the NFC you could shuffle and they could land in any order, the AFC at least looks starting to crystallize a little bit more, right? Like if we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, NFC, we still don't know what the heck we're building. AFC, it's going to be an elephant. We know it's you know, we've got enough pieces in place. New England Patriots look very, very likely to be the 1 seed. The fact that they won that game last night pretty much locks them in my opinion, because their schedule on the way in is so much softer than what the Denver Broncos have to face. And in general, I just rate them as a better team than the Broncos, at least in their current form. They have a better quarterback, certainly. So I think Patriots get the 1 seed. I think that makes Drake May pretty likely to get the MVP. And you know, we'll see about Coach of the Year for Vrabel or not. But I think in general, you know, they're going to be getting the bye. And again, like they might be like the 7th or 8th best team in the playoffs, maybe the 9th, and yet they're going to have you know, this huge advantage of rest and into the second round cleanly. Broncos right now projecting them very likely as the AFC West winner. Hard to find any path where they'd fall out of the 2. I think the fact that they are likely to land 2 and Patriots are likely to land 1 is why I think there is a little bit more certainty in the way that these things go. And best wildcard team would be Buffalo Bills. Lock them into the 5. Your winner of the AFC North likely the 4. So the most likely matchup of any by the math for the wildcard weekend is going to be Buffalo at Baltimore. Obviously, a rematch of a very, very well-regarded game from week 1 that was 41-40. The state of these teams obviously very different than that game where you had, you know, so much incredible offense. And in general, I would expect Buffalo to be, you know, we can talk about what that fair line would be, but I think they're going to be road favorites in that one, maybe by a good amount. Baltimore obviously is hurt and not playing well. But yeah, I think the 4-5 Baltimore-Buffalo looks likely. Your AFC South winner would likely be your 3 seed. Who that team is the most wide open in the AFC. I don't think that there is really anything that distinguishes Colts, Texans, and Jags right now in terms of neutral rating. Jags would be the third, but it's not by enough that there should be more than field goal dogs to any of these teams, as evidenced by this weekend where there looks like we're going to close around a pick. And I think it's going to be coin flips. It's going to be luck. And I would currently think that the Texans have the best chance of getting it considering their path and their tiebreaker over the Jags, because right now projecting the Texans and the Jags to finish with the same record, and tiebreaker goes Texans. So Texans is your 3 seed, probably. Jags is your 6 seed, probably. I have the Colts finishing out of the playoffs right now as the 8th. And I think the 7th is wide open for the Kansas City Chiefs to storm their way in after losing this week to the Texans. So keep an eye on like a rollover for Houston, for KC after losing this week and everybody finally writing them off. I know that it's been a broadly talked about future of taking Kansas City playoffs, yes, right now. But this is a really bad matchup for them considering the state of their offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to touch on the AFC South a bit quickly because I like what you mentioned there and talking the Texans sort of flipping things, right? Because it feels like the magic's kind of worn off on the Colts. It seems like, listen, it's only been 2 weeks, but it seems like the defensive game plan is out now. It's just like, do your best to contain Jonathan Taylor, force Daniel Jones to beat you, and if he can't, then he can't, right? So, like, that's what it feels like teams are doing. And then also the Texans getting C.J. Stroud back, a little bit of a bump. Their offense looks a little bit better, and their defense is just will never lose them a game. Like, their defense is so good, one of the best in the league. So having an offense there that's just sort of competent, they're kind of like the inverse Dallas Cowboys is what it feels like.
Their pass rush has actually been underperforming what they ought to be considering their pressure rate. So they could get better all of a sudden. With Will Anderson, a very, very like worthy candidate for down ballot voting in DPOY. Derek Stingley Jr. has been the best cover corner this season on any team, in my opinion. And I don't think it's especially close. Their offensive line, which was an absolute tire fire for the first half of the season, is all of a sudden playing very well. Their center Jake Andrews is warranting like legitimately good, film grades on top of Ed Ingram making plays now. These guys were cast-offs from bad lines. I cannot believe they're playing as well as they are. And in general, if you're going to protect CJ Stroud, he can throw a beautiful ball. So, I think Texans are live to get the upset this week against the Chiefs, and I think that actually sets them up pretty well to get the 3 seed. All
right, let's rattle off some quick. I'm not going to call them gun to head, but like I just wrote down numbers as what I think maybe might be the spread for these games, and who knows if they're going to happen. But let's start with Ravens Buffalo. I'm unsure who's going to get the home game, but I'm gonna write down it's Baltimore at home, but I have Buffalo at -1.5, -110. What's your gut saying right now? What side would you want?
I think the market hangs at 2.5. My fair would be closer to 3.5.
Wow. Okay.
I have basically completely let go of the rope in terms of my prior for Baltimore.
Wow. Okay. Talk us through that.
Lamar Jackson is playing through so many lower body injuries that is he marginally better even than like a Tyrod Taylor in terms of a rating right now? I'm not seeing any reason to warrant it. He's playing, his neutral EPA per play since he's come back from injury has been borderline replacement level. I don't know what's going on with them. It's sad to watch it. But the idea that he's going to be able to go score for score with Josh Allen in a playoff game, even at home, I think is suspect. And I think the Baltimore defense showed us something on Thanksgiving where they're not as good as we think they are. They're good enough to just smother bad teams, but they go up against a good quarterback who's, is going to stand in the pocket and fire and not be, scared off. They're in trouble. So I would take Buffalo on the road lay the points as long as you're asking me to lay under a field goal.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. My thought process here is that maybe in a month, I'm kind of hoping that Lamar looks better than he's been, and also was hoping that Baltimore game last week was sort of an outlier game. Something that we didn't expect. It's just also my belief in Joe Brady is just non-existent. I feel like the way that coaching staff just calls plays for on both sides of the ball feels like they're both doing a disservice to Josh Allen there. But
they're all Dalton Kincaid merchants, and hopefully he returns at some point.
That's the key to the offense there, Dalton Kincaid. All right, let's flip over and talk Chiefs potential matchup where let's call it the 2-6 and then the 1-7, or sorry, the 2-7 and then the 1-7, because like we would think that they would make it through past Denver if they played Denver and then end up facing the Pats. So I have them as both games as a -3, -110 on the road into Denver and then on the road into New England. Now, my question with New England is, are we going to get those offensive linemen back? And number one. Number two, obviously it matters, but how much does it matter? Because it didn't really matter last night. So let's start with the Chiefs, Denver, laying 3, -110. Would you take them on the road?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I think there's obviously Bo Nix in a playoff environment. Like, no thanks. Up against a familiar opponent, Steve Spagnuolo, who in general has done a decent job against him. I'm not seeing him being able to find a path to victory in that type of game. Obviously, I'm sitting on Broncos losing the wild card round, so I'm hoping that manifests. But Chiefs would be favored by at least 3. We obviously have a market and a result that is going to really influence this, right? Like Christmas Day, these two teams play each other in Kansas City. My look ahead for that is kind of in the 6.5, 7 range. Game's obviously going to mean a lot more to Kansas City than it's going to mean to Denver, and there's going to be an unlimited amount of market support for Kansas City in that one, in my opinion. So maybe that closes 7, 7.5. Who the heck knows? But definitely a world where KC sneaks in as the 7 seed. The only team they have a tiebreak over, and boy, is it an important one, is the Colts. And they can sneak in as a 7 seed. Being a road favorite against the Broncos and a road favorite against the Patriots would be wild, but I think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So you would click the 3 for sure going into Denver, but then going into New England.
Tougher ask. Okay. The buys obviously matter. The extra rest is hugely important for getting healthy. Drake May he would be my vote today for MVP.
Yeah.
And it's not especially close. He's leading in total EPA generated. There may be a moment where the shine comes off a little bit down the stretch here if they lose to the Bills, if they lose to the Ravens, but they're still going to get the 1 seed in my opinion, even with those losses. So I think Drake May is the guy in a playoff environment, making his first ever playoff start with the limitations in terms of offensive line that you mentioned, not feeling great about it. So it would be pretty hilarious for Patriots fans who talk themselves into we're going to the Super Bowl with the 1 seed, see Pat Mahomes come to town and take their lunch money. All
right. Before you head out here, I'm going to force you, gun to your head, predict the AFC and NFC championship game. Are we going to see a different AFC championship game like we haven't seen in like a really long time, or is it just going to be one of KC, Baltimore, and Buffalo?
There's a world where Houston beats Buffalo in the other divisional round.
Okay.
For sure. And we might have Houston hosting KC. I think Buffalo hosting KC is more likely, but there's certainly a world where Houston gets there and is hosting. And then that team at home is again, they match up well against KC. I think that would be a really, really fun AFC championship game. And there'd be obviously so much support for Kansas City at that point that they'd probably close favorite. But Buffalo, on the other hand, probably 2.5, 3-point favorites against KC, if that's your AFC championship game. Gun to head, KC makes it back somehow. And we're all like, how did they do it?
See it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with the most fun outcome here then. Did you say the NFC? Sorry, I missed the NFC. Did you say who you have coming out the NFC?
Probably the Rams.
Rams? Okay, so you have gun to your head Kansas City Rams. But what would be the most fun? Would that be like Dallas?
Dallas KC was a pretty dang good game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that one again. But like Dallas fans, you can get excited about your chances to steal the East and get the 3 seed. You will inevitably be disappointed in the playoffs by them. That's almost how this is likely going to go. Green Bay is my number 1 power rated team in the NFL period. I think they probably come away with a tough 2-3 matchup against Dallas if that's how it breaks. And then I would Green Bay LA in the 1-2, or Seattle Green Bay in the 1-2. Both incredibly tough to call. This minute, I'm going to send Green Bay, though, and we'll say it's Green Bay KC.
All right. That's a fun one. Drew, appreciate you joining the show. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We will talk soon.
Best luck, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Awesome stuff there from Drew. Love talking the NFL playoff picture. We're going to get a little bit more NFL action, NFL talk coming your way shortly. But quickly, we got Matt Winick coming on. Going to talk about some college basketball. Before we do the college basketball, though, did you guys know that if you're watching from Missouri, it's official. FanDuel Sportsbook is live in the Show Me State. If you've been waiting to get in on the best books in the business, now is the time. FanDuel is offering new customers $300 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet. Win or lose. That's right, $5 into $300 in bonus bets back, guaranteed. And for the launch week, FanDuel's giving every customer a no-sweat bet every single day. So you can fire away knowing even if the ticket doesn't cash, you'll get a bonus bet back to keep things rolling. FanDuel's interface is clean, it's fast, and it's built for serious bettors. Live markets update instantly. Same game parlays are smooth, and payouts hit quick. So if you're in Missouri, download the app or head to FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to sign up and get your bonus, because Missouri, it's time for you to play your game with FanDuel. 21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. For new customers, offer first online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. For all customers, offer opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expired 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're in Missouri, go to FanDuel. Download the app. Anyways, let's get into things here. Lots to talk about in college basketball. He's a college basketball analyst and consultant. He does content over at the Basketball Review. Matt, how's it going?
How's it going? Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Excited to get in some college basketball stuff here. Feast week was a big week for you, big week for the sport. Where do we start here? You want to start with Michigan? They looked pretty good in Feast week. Do you believe that they are the best team in college basketball right now?
Right now, for sure. They're huge. They're fast. And when they can shoot, which they did in the Players Era tournament during Feast Week, there's no one in the country that can beat them. The only way that Michigan loses games is because they're shooting 15, 20% from three, because the three-point mark is a little bit questionable. They're starting like three bigs, at least three guys that played the big man spot last year, and two true centers. So they're kind of low on shooting. They got a lot of options to sort of fill that off-ball role, and then their point guard, Elliot Cadeau, is a poor shooter. So you kind of got to hope and pray and cross your fingers that Michigan can't hit a three. And when you got to hope and pray to beat a team, that's typically a sign of them being the best there is.
Yeah, all right, that makes perfect sense. Let's talk a little bit then and recap which teams maybe should be worried about their performance from last week, or maybe which teams you're sort of down on, or hey, maybe the market is down on them and you want to buy them back. We have St. John's here coming off a loss to Vandy, Florida, who seems to have that trouble shooting, and then Houston, who is still trying to figure things out with a younger roster. Which of these three teams are you most worried about?
Yeah, you're fine with Florida and with Houston. Florida returns their entire front court from a national championship team, and the guards are still figuring out what their role looks like. It'll take a few weeks. They're not hitting a single shot. They can't throw a beach ball in the ocean right now. That'll change. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
And then Houston's Houston under Kelvin Sampson. They've been 1 or 2 in Ken Bauman, I think 4 or 5 straight years. They'll be a top 10 team. That's just a literal given at this point. St. John's, not good. They allow a ton of offensive rebounds. They're not good shooters themselves. They don't have a point guard. It's been a problem all season. And I think now that they went to Players Era, they played 3 really good teams. They lost 2 of those games, Iowa State and Auburn. You're starting to see what the ceiling looks like for St. John's, and it's not that high. Now, that said, when you get into Big East play, the rest of the Big East also really sucks outside of UConn. So they're going to win a lot of games, and they'll make the NCAA tournament. But just remember that. Put a pin in it when they play a really good team in March Madness.
Yeah, seems like maybe a team that you're most worried about. What's your biggest setback, biggest takeaway from this week, outside of what we just talked about here?
Yeah, I'd say Vanderbilt is super for real.
Yeah.
They're number 10 in Ken Pom now. They're 8-0 in the year. They just whooped St. Mary's by 25, which no one can do. They're going to face a lot of very good teams in the SEC, none of which they've really played so far. They kind of kept their schedule light to begin the year. So you've basically got to look at the market and see them being number 10 and then expecting all of the super physical power conference SEC games on their slate. They don't play a top 35 team until they get into SEC play, and then they play 1, 2, 3, 4, like 7 of them. So they're going to be fascinating to watch, and you're going to want to see how they react when they play real super big, super physical athletic teams.
Yeah, it seems like it's Vanderbilt's year between Diego Pavia in college football and now them in college basketball. Any other takeaways? I know a lot of people were liking UConn here. I saw that someone actually put them down twice on their top 25 ballot, which was a little interesting there. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. Anything you like from UConn, or just kind of with market expectation, they align with yours?
So UConn plays Kansas today. After that game, they are projected to win every single game the rest of the season except for one, and it's against St. John's, and it's on the road, and they're projected to lose by 1. If they beat Kansas today, that'll bump up their analytic ranking, and they'll be projected to win every game for the rest of the year. They're going to coast because, like I said before, the Big East is really bad. And if you want to have takeaways from UConn, if you want to get a real gauge on what they look like and if they're national championship contenders, this Kansas game is really the place to look because they may not get tested for the rest of the year after today.
This is kind of more of like a holistic point of view, but how much do you think that might like hurt or help them when it comes to the tournament here? Like what do you think with March Madness? Like, do you think you'd rather be in this situation, or do you want to be tested maybe a few times down the stretch?
Well, when you're talking about power rankings from our perspective, I think it's a good thing that the Big East is bad because inevitably they're going to have a few, slips. They're going to have a couple of games that they're playing a bad team that maybe that game will end up being a 5-point. Maybe they win them all, but maybe it's a 5-point spread when they're projected to win by 18. And that hurts their analytic ranking. And now they go to March Madness and they're in the Sweet 16 and they're playing a top 10 team. And they're a little underrated because they couldn't beat Seton Hall by 18. And next thing you know, they're undervalued. You take them, they win that game. That's not, it's far in the distance, but that happens all the time with teams that are in a bad conference.
Okay, all right. Let's flip over and let's talk today's slate of games. Couple Big Ten games. We got Purdue at Rutgers, Iowa, Michigan State, USC at Oregon. Which game is the most interesting to you? Which game do you want to talk about here?
Michigan State, Iowa is fascinating because this is Ben McCollum and Iowa's first game against a top 40 team since he took over at Iowa. And the whole question with Ben McCollum, Bennett, Sturts, and this Iowa team, who are largely coming over from Drake, is how do they fare against the big boys? Now they're playing their first true road game, and it's at Michigan State, one of the most physical, if not the most physical team in the country. Already has a win over North Carolina and Kentucky and Arkansas. So you're going to learn all you need to know about Iowa that we haven't learned yet. If they are for real, then they have a real chance at Michigan State. I actually think they're really good, and I still don't think they have a chance tonight. Just the physicality and Michigan State at home in the Big Ten opener, like it feels like an absolutely brutal spot. And the market has kept this at basically 5.5 all day, which I'm a little surprised by.
You expect it to go a little bit more in Michigan State's favor? Is that what you expect? Okay, so if you had to click right now, you would click Michigan State.
Yeah, I think that the size advantage, the big man advantage is going to be pretty prominent with a huge home court advantage against an Iowa team that hasn't proven themselves yet.
All right, let's talk maybe USC Oregon a little bit. I'm going to force you to talk about USC a little bit. Anything you like in that game? Just break down the matchup here.
Yeah, so star big man Nate Biddle was out last game for Oregon. That's going to be the entire game. Okay. This spread is about even now, if I'm not mistaken. If Nate Biddle is out, that will change immediately. Oregon is basically a two-man team, him and Jackson Shellstad. When they didn't have Shellstad, they barely beat Hawaii. They won by 1 point at home against Hawaii. So now at home against USC, without one of their two good players, they don't really stand a chance. USC is coming off of a Maui championship where they scored a lot more points than they probably will in this one because of those soft Maui rims. But if Nate Biddle's out, by far their best defender, that's not really a great angle per se.
Okay. All right. Let's. You want to close out the Big Ten conversation with Purdue Rutgers, or you want to just flip over and talk ACC SEC challenge?
You're not going to take a 20-point or 18 or 17-point road favorite in a conference opener, but you're also not going to take Rutgers. Maybe, and that game doesn't exist.
All right. Sounds good. I had a feeling you're going to get into that. A couple important games in the ACC SEC challenge. I'll let you pick where to start. Florida versus Duke, Tennessee versus Syracuse, North Carolina versus Kentucky stuck out to me the most. maybe you pick one off the board there. Where do you want to start for this ACC SEC challenge today?
Yeah, let's do Florida Duke. Florida shooting 27.7% from three. That is really bad. Now they're not filled with shooters, and their backcourt of Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee aren't great spacers to begin with. But I said the stat on my show, Weekend Under Review, which you should check out on Basket Under Review. But Duke has 7 players shooting 36% plus from three. Florida has one guy over 31%. And it's like one of their backups, Urban Klobchar, that no one thought would be a huge impact guy this year. So now either you believe that Duke is an unbelievable shooting team and Florida stinks, which in a way could be true, or Duke is maybe going to cool down a bit and Florida's going to heat up a bit, in which case 8 points, which is where this line opened up at, and you could probably get 9 now, is probably too much when you talk about a matchup between two teams that were in the Final Four last year.
Okay. Just clearly sticking with this team. How good is this Cameron Boozer kid? Is that Cameron Boozer? Cameron Boozer?
Yeah.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Cameron Boozer's really good, but it's worth mentioning he's only played against 3 power conference teams, and he stunk against 2 of them. Against Texas, he went 3 of 12. Against Kansas, he went 5 of 17, 7 of 17. And then finally, against Arkansas, he broke out. He went 13 of 18. So awesome. But Florida has probably the biggest, most physical front court in the country. And Cameron Boozer's not going, 13 of 18 again. And if he really struggles like he did against Texas and like he did against Kansas, they very well could lose this game.
All right. I just had to slip that in there because we talked about him preseason with Corby, talking about the Wooden Award. Anyways, any other games you like or want to talk about in the in this slate of games or today? Or you want to flip over to tomorrow?
North Carolina, Kentucky should be interesting. Kentucky really struggled in their 2 big games against Louisville and Michigan State. So, and then they've absolutely dominated the bad opponents. So their market rating is all over the place because when you beat 4 teams by 40, but then lose by double digits in their 2 real games, like nobody really, it's kind of broken the algorithm. So if you believe that this team really is below expectations at Kentucky, then there's probably some value on a large underdog in North Carolina on the road here.
All right. A little value on North Carolina. Let's flip over and talk tomorrow's slate of games here. Louisville, Arkansas, Clemson, Alabama, NC State, Auburn. Of those 2 games, which is your favorite? Which one are you watching? Talk us through them.
You got to watch Louisville when Louisville's on your TV. They're probably the most fun team to watch in the country. They're shooting 55% of their shots from 3. They're just firing away. And they're making a whole lot of them too. They're dunking. They're shooting threes. It's a lot of fun to watch. And when it goes in, like it has early in this season, it's going to be very hard to beat them. They've only played 1 top 50 team this year. That was Kentucky. I just mentioned that Kentucky struggled against better teams this year. So Arkansas is going to be a real test. And this is at Arkansas. So if Louisville's for real, they walk into Arkansas and really, get their style of play to be what is played amongst these opponents. If Arkansas can't be physical, Louisville's running away. And then you get into ACC play where it's really just Duke and a bunch of others.
All right. I guess you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. What number are you looking for when that game opens up?
Ooh. Ken Palm has it Louisville -3. I don't really think I'd take Louisville any more than that, just because Arkansas, for their own strengths, is like they were leading Duke with 5 minutes left in their game the other day. They were leading Michigan State in the second half in their game the other day. And those were both basically true road environments because every Duke neutral site game is a true road environment. So now Arkansas gets a good team at home. Like Louisville's first road game, that leans spot-wise all Arkansas. So I would need an awesome number to play Louisville, and I'd need a bad number to not at least consider Arkansas.
All right. Sounds good. What's your big takeaway? What you're looking forward to this week in college basketball?
Well, if you're going to watch college basketball, set aside tonight and tomorrow night because Thursday and Friday is empty. And then Saturday is your classic 120 games in the slate. Like, good luck trying to keep track of anything. So if you want to sit down, not be overwhelmed, and have really good college basketball games on your television, today and tomorrow is what you're going to get.
All right. Perfect takeaway. Appreciate that, Matt. We will chat soon. Appreciate you joining the show. See you on maybe next week. Have a good one.
I'll see you.
Awesome stuff there from Matt. Thank you so much for joining us. Great insight for today. Also, it's perfectly lining up. I love when different sports coordinate their schedules together. We don't have there's no crazy big football game or college football game on this Tuesday or Wednesday coming up. couple NFL games, couple NHL games, couple NBA games. So college basketball fitting in perfectly. We love that. Going to be
Also,
on one of my 3
MLB
TVs.
news, Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, there is a date for the trial in May.
Wow.
May 4th in Brooklyn Federal Court. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Going to circle that day then. I feel like that's just going to take years to sort itself out as anything does in the court system. Anyways, what do we got? We got Rob coming up next. Before we bring on Rob, though, just want to quickly remind you today's Tuesday. We have our best bets show. So if you want to fire on Week 14 bets, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, head over to the Forward Progress YouTube channel. GSAC George, Flup, and a third mystery guest will be there giving out 3 best bets. Who knows? It might be me this week. No one really knows. They'll be there. They'll be breaking down every single game. That's tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. They're doing great. Other than everyone on that channel is doing great outside of Flup. I wonder if ever since he
took on that job.
Yeah, he's like just been trying to sabotage us. Maybe I don't know. He's a little
boycotting the hammer.
Anyways, you should definitely tune in though because you're like 13-0 if you've been fading Flup the last 3 weeks. So, anyways,
Christmas money.
All right, let's get into things here with Rob. Let's bring him up. He's the CEO of the Hammer Betting Network. Down bad after last night because there was someone in our chat after the first quarter was like, everything's dead. And we're like, no, everything's going great. What are you talking about? And then this guy, I guess, is like Nostradamus can see the future. He was right. Rob, did you end up reaching out to this guy at all for next week's slate of games? Uh-oh.
You're muted.
Is Rob? It seems like Rob has muted himself.
Rob's muted himself.
Let's see if we can get him back on here in just a second.
Try again, Rob.
No. All right. Well, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. That's all right. We got the Market Watch coming up. Rob just popped out. He's gonna pop back in here in just a second. Get his audio sorted out. Listen, Rob, if you don't want to do the show, you just didn't have to come on. You don't have to pretend like your mic doesn't work. He's giving me the old Hitman silent treatment here.
Wasn't answering your messages this morning.
Yeah, it just completely goes. He's giving me the thumbs up in the background, so hopefully it's working here. We got a couple games to talk about on this slate, so excited to get into things. Talk about where the market's moving. If you haven't listened, again, I'm going to take this second to plug the Sunday Reset. The best way to prep for this segment is to go listen to the Sunday Reset. If you don't do it Sunday night, at least do it Monday morning. If you don't do it Monday morning, what the hell are you doing? You're wasting your time by not doing that. Rob, do we got you?
Should be good now.
I don't know if I can hear you, Rob. One more time. No, I'm kidding.
Know you can.
I'm gonna lose my job.
You're such a bad liar. I know you can hear me. You've completely buried the lead here. You're focusing on the watch along last night. You might be on NFL best bets today. Whatever. I mean, let's take a step back here because the topic of conversation yesterday in the office was you and Kirk Evans almost coming to blows over this Heisman bet that you made with one another, where you took Diego Pavia
Yes.
at minus 340.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
And apparently now this bet has been voided.
Yes.
Like what has happened here?
Well, Kirk knew that this was going to move. I wasn't privy to that information. So if anything, he's the scumbag for making this bet with me knowing that they're going to move the market.
Well, no, I mean, listen, first and foremost, the goal of any bettor when they're making a bet is to make a bet and hopefully get some good closing line value. He did tell you that all of the good futures bettors, like the best futures bettors that he knows, are loading up on Pavia. That's what he said. He put that information out there. He gave it to you. You said about 69 times in a row, Pavia has a 0% chance.
Yeah.
No chance is what you said. And now you're getting out of the bet. You have a minus 340 that has 100% chance to win, and you want to get out of this bet.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get in on it on a better number. Message some people. So, yeah.
Who cares about the number if it's a 100% chance? You get in on it at every number.
Listen, I'm just doing what you taught me to do: is get better positions if you can. So I feel like this is.
But you might have gotten out of a great position.
Yeah, I did. But I also. Listen, Kirk gave me the out. I was going to take it. Also, that was part of the stipulation because I was worried about this whole thing. When he said, fine, I'll give you 24 hours to void after we shook hands. So,
well, I'll tell you this. When I was hammering Floyd Mayweather for a month straight against Conor McGregor, and the lines were moving the opposite way against me, I wasn't typing to sports books being like, hey, you know, can I get out of this bet? Or I was just betting more and more.
You know,
because I thought it was as close to 100% chance to win as possible. So I just kept betting more. And you're trying to reduce your position on 100% chance bet.
No, because I'm going to take the same amount and just bet it at a better number. So I'm technically increasing my position.
Why don't you just bet more?
Because then I'm risking more.
But it's 100% chance to win. There is no shot.
There is no shot. There's a very little shot. There we go. Is that better?
Well, now you're changing your stance.
Yeah, I think there's a greater than 0% chance, but there's definitely less than plus 160, less than a 40% chance. I will take a stand on that for sure. For sure. By the way, he's plus 160 right now. He's tied with Mendoza.
Yeah.
Based off the athletic poll. Anyways.
I'll also ask you to book off your month of May as well. May 2026. We're going to send you to the Emmanuel Classe trial. You're going to be our correspondent.
I would love to do that. I'm actually really excited and looking forward to that.
If you could do the show from the courthouse every day, we'll have you as our correspondent.
I will 100% do that. I'm very in for that. We'll have to talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm actually I hope you're serious because I'm actually really interested in that stuff. So
yeah, listen, I was thinking about this today as soon as I saw the date. I think we have 2 people go to represent the Hammer. We send you. And then we send a baseball expert. I was thinking Matt Zilbert would accompany you for that entire month since he's very in the weeds when it comes to baseball. So you and Zilbert reporting live from the trial would be, I think, great coverage. Two great minds.
Not only is he a baseball expert, but I think he might be a court expert as well with how many times he's been there before. So, yeah, that's actually a good value add as myself as host and him as color. Maybe that works. Just I'll ask that you get a separate hotel rooms.
No, we'll do one room, 2 beds. I'm not gonna make you guys share a bed. But you guys have to, and it'll have to be a smoking room as well.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. We'll have to hammer these details a little bit later. Let's get into the show. Got a lot to talk about here. A lot of small moves, big moves. Don't see as many big moves unless they're injury related this late in the season. Let's start with Dallas and Detroit, though. The Thursday night football game. We've seen some Dallas money take a little bit, and then also the over get a little bit here for this game. Detroit's just kind of been riddled with injuries. Like Amon-Ra feels like part of the engine of their offense, and I think he as good as their running backs are, I think he makes things click. So yeah, tough not having him this week. Defensive injuries, just injuries on both sides of the ball for this team. Talk us through this movement towards Dallas here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with regard to the over in this game, I don't think that's a surprise when you consider Lions home games, and have played a lot of track meets over the years. Plus, they get a Dallas offense that's very good indoors as well. No surprise whatsoever to see the Cowboys taking early money. I'm actually surprised more money hasn't come in on the Cowboys. Like Detroit's still being valued as a pretty great football team, and I'm not convinced that they are. And like you mentioned, Jason, without the potential of Amon-Ra St. Brown playing at receiver. You remember Khalif Raymond missed last week. They even have guys like Brock Wright is a backup tight end to Sam Laporta, but even he is probably out long-term. Like they just don't have a lot of great weapons. I don't think that there's much separating these teams right now. So I'll be very curious to see if at some point someone wants to come back in here on Detroit, but I don't think Detroit 3 is bettable personally. And, listen, my reads are often wrong. I can't say I'm right all the time, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas took more money once the limits started going up even further in this game.
Yeah, market ratings, just looking at Unpredictable right now, has Detroit as the 6th best team, whereas Dallas is the 15 best teams. I think that's just that just feels fundamentally wrong. I think, again, don't want to stand in front of the market, but it's pretty early in the week. I think too high on Detroit, and still, I think the general market is still, hate to say it to your face, Rob, but too low on Dallas.
Listen, I agree with you. Like, in my opinion, Detroit without Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a top 10 football team in the league. I obviously have been low on Detroit for a large part of this year. I've had to hear it from that fan base over and over and over about, the lazy analysis. Oh, by the way, it turns out losing Ben Johnson actually did hurt the offense. Maybe not having the same offensive line as last year was actually a problem. Who could have guessed that lazy analysis would have paid off? But Dallas's problem has been their defense all year. And now that they're getting it back to full strength, like they're basically, I don't know, somewhere between, like, let's just say 16 to 24 in the league in defense when they're at full health. And with this offense, that's a top 5 offense. I think that makes them a top 10 team in the league. So I'm not here on this, the price in this game. Obviously, Cowboys fan, you see the logo behind me, but I'm just not here on this price.
Yeah, I really think also the additions are going to help them so much in the run game. And again, with Noah Monroe, St. Brown, that feels like the path to victory for Detroit. Just feels like how Dallas would want them to play on offense. And then again, this Dallas offense is just willing to track meet and put up as many points against every single team. Let's whisk through these next couple of bets here. We got Washington at Minnesota here. Hitman, before the show, gave out on his service. Minnesota, I believe it was 1.5, maybe. It's kind of been back and forth on who's been the favorite on this game. It's basically a pick 'em here. I guess this is assuming Jane Daniels is not going to be back because there's like a small chance that he might be. Talk us through this game.
Okay, so first and foremost, it's important to note that the advanced line in this game was Minnesota -2.5. Now, the Vikings look like complete dog shit against the Seahawks, so you downgrade them quite a bit. Probably J.J. McCarthy back. We don't know necessarily, but seems like he's going to make it through protocol for them this week. Now, before we get into it further, Jason, remind me who Hitman's favorite team is in the NFL.
The Vikings.
This guy bets on the Vikings
every week
without any shame, and then comes on con. He's like, I'm not a homer or whatever. Just fucking spare me the not a homer stuff, Hitman. Definitely a homer. With that said, it's not a terrible play because I think when this line reopened, it was kind of flipping with the expectation that Jaden Daniels is going to be back. They were always targeting this week as the return for him, but that's not a foregone conclusion. I mean, it's probably a 50-50, and there's a chance that Marcus Mariota ends up playing for Washington this week, in which case I think the Vikings probably do have to close in this price range. So, it was a Hitman release that moved market. I don't really have a strong opinion on this, but there's definitely scenarios here where Daniels is not ready to go.
Yeah, this Washington team feels so down in the mud. If there's no point in rushing Jane Daniels back if he's not not 100% ready. So gotta wait for that and see what Washington does here. But yeah, Minnesota -1.5 favorites now. Tennessee versus Cleveland, like another, just so many like
nasty.
If there's good games on the board, there's gonna be gross games on the board, and we're gonna talk through the gross games because we can bet on the gross games. Cleveland's taking some early money here. I think the Shadur Sanders, like, I forget who said, someone said in the chat, I think on the Sunday reset, where it's like no matter what game is played and how Shadur Sanders looks, most people will never change their opinion on him. Their opinion before the game will always be the same after the game. But I think he's looked a little bit better than some people, like me personally at least, expected him to look in this offense against the weak Tennessee Titans defense. This seems like a matchup made in heaven for Cleveland. Cleveland's taking money from 3.5 all the way up to 4.5 now. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, so listen, I'm actually quite surprised by this, and not because I don't think that there's scenarios where the Browns can win by margin against the Titans are a very, very bad football team. But when you look at the injury attrition that Cleveland suffered on the offensive line last week, I mean, their right tackle and their center both left the game. Wyatt Teller, their right guard, is very unlikely to play this week. So they could be without right guard, right tackle. They don't have a great offensive line in general. And typically speaking, I mean, you don't regularly see the market make these types of moves early in the week when there's way more downside for one team, which is the Browns here, in my opinion. That said, maybe Tennessee's just that bad and somebody doesn't care, and that can certainly be the case. But a little bit surprised by it. I mean, we'll see how this week plays out and what that O-line and D-line situation looks like for Cleveland as well. Malik Collins got hurt last week. He's going to miss. Alex Wright has been out for them as well. So Aiden Huntington missed last week. They have significant injuries on both lines, and those teams almost never take money. So I think that this is just an indictment on how bad the Titans are right now.
Yeah, let's flip over and talk Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Let's try and breeze through these next couple of games here. Look Ahead had this at like 46, 47 and a half on the total. It's down to 43 and a half now. A lot of money coming in on the under. And then Baltimore 6.5 point favorites to start. And then now it's come down to 5.5. People interested in Pittsburgh. Divisional road game here. Maybe Mike Tomlin. People are thinking Mike Tomlin cooks up the voodoo. Who knows what's going to happen? All right. But talk us through this game. What do you like and why we saw so much movement towards the under?
Yeah, I think the Steelers and the under are kind of correlated for this game. This was one of our favorite looks on Sunday Reset, myself and Clive, towards the under. I cannot believe that this total ended up opening above 44 with the state of these offenses right now. The Steelers do not have a NFL offense at this point. Lamar Jackson really, really struggling right now. Don't know what's going on with him, but the lack of being able to move the ball against the Bengals defense last week is extreme cause for concern. Plus, you factor in cold weather, possible winds, possible precipitation, all that stuff. Under had to take money here. With regards to the side, I don't think this is pro Steelers money. I think this is just anti-Ravens money, where the offense is just not what it was in years past. So someone taking a stance that it's just too many points to lay with this Ravens offense, which is a shell of its former self. And tough one for me on the side, but definitely like complete agreement on the under here.
All right. Seattle and Atlanta coming in. Falcons seem to have taken some early money here. Maybe that's off of optimism that Drake London plays. It seems like a lot. I'm noticing a pattern here. USC wide receiver plays. Market likes them. So what else outside of the Drake London coming back to play might be influencing some Atlanta money here?
Honestly, could just be the way that these teams are being rated in market right now. Listen, like someone liked the number yesterday and bet the Falcons. And I mean, I'll tell you, when I ran my numbers on this game yesterday, I was actually floored that I ended up having a small edge on the Falcons as well. So I don't know what's happened in the last couple of weeks, but definitely even without Drake London, the Falcons offense has looked functional under Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying they're going to be able to move the ball at will against the Seahawks. I don't think that they will, but it hasn't been as big of a drop-off as expected. And with Seattle, we've kind of seen the offense coming back down to earth. The interior O-line is a real problem for them right now. There's one thing that Atlanta does well. They're blitzing a lot. They're getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So I could see someone taking a stance on Atlanta. I didn't bet it early out on in the week here, but there are a lot of handicaps that make sense for the Falcons.
All right, Falcons. I could see that. I feel like the Falcons kind of are underperforming in terms of expectation on defense with how able they are to how much they're able to get to the quarterback and cause pressure, like you mentioned there. Last two games that you want to talk about here: Chicago, Green Bay, all Packers money. It seems like, but like the injury concern on the defensive side of the ball makes me really, really worried for this Packers team. And that's not even like my Caleb Williams Chicago Bears bias coming in here. Do you project like a little bit more health for this Green Bay Packers team coming into this Week 14 matchup?
Honestly, listen, I'm not surprised that the Packers took money early. I think that people are regularly looking for the spot to fade Chicago. The Eagles took money against them last week as well. And at some point, you just there's a 7 minus 113 in market right now on the Bears. This is going to be a frigid, cold game at Lambeau. 5 degrees Fahrenheit, little bit of wind. It turns into a game where both teams are running the ball. Well, one thing the Bears do really well is run the ball. They have great run schemes. You look at the D-line for the Packers, and it's banged up. And I get it. People look at the Bears' resume this year, and they're like, this team is fraudulent, want to bet against it. Fine. There was a Right Angle Sports release on this early yesterday. It pushed the market, even more money after that. But at some point, you got to draw a line in the sand and be like, well, the total in this game is 44. There's not going to be a lot of deep passing. Yeah, the Bears are missing a bunch of linebackers, but I don't know, man. It's starting to get into the range where I think you have to start to consider Chicago.
Yeah, you know that I was going to agree with that one. Last game on the board here is Saints, Bucks. Bucks, I mentioned it earlier on the show today. They're like being held together by duct tape. It's crazy what they've done here. But yeah, they're 8.5 point favorites. For those of us alive in Survivor are like considering taking the Bucks, but like I was having a conversation with my group chat today. This doesn't feel like an 8.5 point spread here, but Tampa Bay seems to be taking money regardless. Talk us through this one.
So it's important to note that this is the healthiest that Tampa Bay has been in a very, very long time, with the exception of quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's got the non-throwing shoulder injury, maybe still dealing with the oblique. But aside from that, Bucky Irving's back. Chris Godwin's back. He looks okay. Offensive line is as healthy as it's been in a while. They got Hassan Reddick back last week. They got Jamel Dean back last week. So basically those Bucs injury reports that we were used to seeing for 5-6 weeks, where it's just like everyone listed, that's done. So this is a fully healthy team, and I think you could probably start to price them a little bit closer to what they were earlier in the year. The challenge is I just don't even know that the Bucs are a great team at full health. So I'm struggling with this one because the Saints, frankly, they could have got stomped by the Dolphins on the road last week. Miami just couldn't put them away. They let them hang around. Eventually the game became close, but I suspect that the reason someone's back in Tampa here is they feel that they're underrated just based off of the way that the injuries have resolved themselves for them over the past few weeks. So not a game that I will necessarily love, but, and maybe potentially could be looking at the other side.
All right, perfect. Thank you for the analysis there, Robin. Hey, I also saw Mike Evans might be back at practice this week. Yeah. So if he puts up 140 yards over the next 5 weeks, he can still crack that 1,000-yard mark, which
he's going to want to work his way back from that. Like that, that is something for sure.
Yeah, maybe something to keep an eye on. Anyways, Rob, appreciate you joining the show. I'm going to get yelled at for Alex for going a little bit too long here, but
it's okay. The only thing more important than the Mike Evans 1,000-yard streak is the So Money Sports 100-unit streak. I think since he's been 4 years old, he's at plus 100 units in the NHL every single year. So got to keep that one alive as well.
All right, we keep that alive. Rob, we'll chat soon. Have a good one.
Right.
Great stuff. Great stuff. All right. I can just see Alex and So Money in the background just like shaking their heads a little bit mad at me. We're not going to make them wait any longer, though. We'll do the guest line at the end of the show. We'll just bring him right in.
1 second.
And, we can – listen, you guys are allowed to give me shit. That's fine. But yeah, you know what time it is. It's Edgework time. So in the chat, you guys asked for it. I want you to show out the representation for it then. In the chat, let's see the thumbs up. Let's see the fists. Edgework fists in the air. Charles, where are you? Little Jordan Mosel, where are you? You guys better be there. All right. Quick reminder before we get into this, though. If you haven't done it already, do us a favor. Smash the like button. Tells YouTube that you like us, and then it'll also recommend us to other people that might like us. And then if you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. I think Tuesdays is one of our best shows that we put on every week. So, yeah, do us a huge favor. Smash the like button. Anyways, let's bring him on in. So Money, Alex. Apologies for going a little long there. It's not Festivus just yet. We're like 21 days away. But I'll let you air your grievances right now because I made you guys wait a little bit.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm used to it by now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So not even airing the grievances. You're just gonna throw like a little bit of shade and then call it a day.
Yeah, just throw some shade. I make a schedule. No one sticks to it. What does it matter?
Listen, Chad. If you want me to be quicker next time, I'll be quicker. You let me know. But how about we just go long on Edgework? Maybe that's the answer to this all. Maybe we just break the schedule.
Bad day for it.
Bad day for it. Eh?
No bets going right. Not no bets, but this is maybe like my lowest volume. I just wanted to preface with that because I feel bad because we give out a lot of bets on this show. And it's hard today. I'm struggling to find stuff that I like. So hopefully So Money's got some stuff here because I have very, very little for the first time in a while.
Okay, So Money, do you have bets as well, or does this?
I do. It's not a heavy day, but I do have a couple of things.
Okay. All right. I was ready to just take the headphones off and just walk off the set after Alex told me there were no bets today. But it's okay. No, I'm never gonna force you into stuff. Let's start with the first game here. How about this? I'll throw to Alex every time. Alex, you're gonna just give a soft breakdown.
Oh, no.
Soft breakdown of the game.
Okay. All right.
Soft breakdown of the game, and then we'll see what So Money likes in terms of bets, and then we see if you agree or disagree with him. So Dallas Stars, New York Rangers. Close to a pick'em. Dallas minus 125, Rangers plus 104. Totals at 5.5, juice towards the over, minus 114. Alex, break down the game for us.
Yeah, this is a tricky one actually because obviously trying to gauge the impact of no Adam Fox on this Rangers team, and I wrote about that kind of extensively yesterday in the newsletter, and I think it's going to have a massive impact, and they're going to really, really struggle without him. Quite worried for the Rangers actually. I almost declared them dead yesterday without him, which is ironic because a few weeks ago I said them to make the playoffs was one of my favorite bets on the board. So pretty bad timing with Fox being out for, and being out long term. They don't have a replacement for him on the power play, just plain and simple. Like, they have nothing that they can do there to replace him. They're going to give Scott Morrow a chance. And that guy's barely played in the league. It's hard to see him replicating one of the best power play defensemen in the league in Fox. So, and then Will Borgen is going to be asked to play even more. He's been good this year, but to play in a tougher role against, tougher minutes, more minutes than he's used to, I don't know how he's going to hold up. So I'm really worried about this Rangers team. I lean Stars, but again, where is this line with Fox? I think there has been a pretty adequate adjustment so far, for Fox not being in this lineup. And then you get in the DeSmith game, which I don't think is a huge downgrade. But yeah, I think everything's kind of priced pretty fairly. I would lean a little bit over here because I think the Rangers are really going to struggle defensively without Fox, just because they don't have. But at the same time, Fox does so much for them offensively that I think it's almost a wash. It's just going to kind of impact the team overall more so than anything. And we've seen an adjustment, so I can't really do anything here. That's a long-winded way. I'll be much shorter for the rest of them, but just a unique situation here, obviously, with no Fox. But long-winded way of saying I have nothing here. I'm just interested to see how this Rangers team looks without him.
Mm-hmm. Mike Broenberg in the chat saying New York team total under 2.5 ? Need a line attached to that, my friend, to drop that in there, and we can tell you whether we like it or not. So Money, any bets for this game? Do you agree with Alex's breakdown of it?
Well, I do agree with Alex, but those were a lot of words to say. I'm passing. Yeah, no, I agree with everything Alex has said. I think the Rangers are in trouble without Fox. Also lean Dallas as well, but I mean, I've made my thoughts known on Dallas. I still want to see a little bit more from them. I think they're coming around. Things are starting to get better for them. I would just like to see a little bit more consistency from them before I'm prepared to lay this number on the road, even without Fox, and even knowing how much the Rangers should struggle without Fox. The other thing to keep in note is that when you lose a play driver like Fox, you don't necessarily see that right away, right? So it's one of those things where I'm concerned about them long term, but in any single game right after it happens, I think that it you may not see it immediately. So I think it's lined fairly, but I do agree that long term, as high as I was on the Rangers as well, I am worried about them now.
We're only high on the Rangers because Albert is not on the broadcast. But I will say, someone I can see exactly where you're coming from here in terms of the long-term effects of it, because maybe you can make up for it in the short term with a little bit more effort, but that will just wear you down over time. Any play for you here or just a pass?
No, I'm gonna pass. I would have liked the under. It was all set up for the under, but it's already at 5.5, right? And it's at a flat 5.5. So if you're betting the under, you're basically saying that it should be juiced on the under at 5.5. All
right.
If you're playing it now. So I don't agree with that. So I think it's lined fairly right now.
All right. In the chat, I forget who's asking. New York Rangers total goals under 2.5 plus 110 available at FanDuel. Either you guys like that?
I like that.
Yeah, I do.
All right. All right. Dallas Chosen Sports saying Dallas puck line is what I'm hearing from the squad here. Maybe. Next game we have on the board is, let's go with Boston and Detroit. You know what? No, I lied. We're going to leave with you on this one. Detroit, heavy favorites at home, minus 196 over at FanDuel. Totals at 5.5, minus 124 towards the over. Do you have a bet in this game? Break down what you like here.
I don't have a bet in this game. Detroit, they have lost how many games now? 4 in a row, 5 of 6, I think here. So they've had a bunch of losses now, and their play has started to dip a little bit as well. Although I thought they looked fine in Boston in the 3-2 shootout loss. The numbers look fine. It's just that it looks like they got a little bit unlucky there. And in terms of Boston, they actually have not been playing well for quite a while. But they are alternating wins and losses. So they're staying 500, even though they're not they're not playing well at all. So that's a leading indicator for me that this team is about to go in the tank. Right. That being said, the market looks like it agrees for tonight. Though we're into the minus 190s into the we're right into the 190s now. So I mean that's not something I'm gonna mess around with. I'm on Detroit tonight. So and Boston, I'm not gonna go there just because I think they're gonna tank now. And I got nothing here either, you guys.
Yeah, we can see how long Fraser Minton, Morgan Geeky, and Alex Steves are able to right the ship of this Boston Bruins team. Probably not for too long, though. Alex, I know you're going to pass here, but anything you agree with So Money you say, or you want to disagree with So Money here? We'll talk us through this one.
No, yeah, I agree. I really would have liked an over here, and that's the one thing I might at one point get to. Ender's taking a little bit of money. If it kind of keeps going and we get like a cheaper 5.5, it was there earlier, like very early this morning, and now it's kind of coming back a little bit. If it gets all the way back, just because both teams have been so bad defensively, but like really hard to trust Boston offensively without Pasternak. And Swayman masked a lot of their defensive inefficiencies too. So it's not something I want to force. I would really want like a good minus 115 ish on the 5.5, maybe a minus like high teens even. Maybe I could get there. But again, I want to be very price sensitive here, just given the situation. And yeah, Bruins are a team I want to fade, but obviously the market does too, so you can't really force it.
All right, let's flip over and talk Lightning and Islanders. Islanders underdogs plus 120. Tampa Bay the favorites on this game minus 144 at home here. Totals at 6 minus 106 towards over 114 towards the under. Alex, I'll let you lead with this one. Anything you like in this game? I know it's going to be no, but just maybe break down this game for us here.
It won't always be no, but yes, it is going to be no again. And it's going to mostly be no. This is a no as well. Islanders playing better. Honestly, they're playing better. They're kind of figuring things out a little bit defensively. There was a chance Peugeot was going to be back for a second here, but that's not going to be the case yet. So not quite ready to come back. But they are. I mean, Schaefer leading the charge for this team. He's been just incredible, and the team is kind of starting to follow suit. Almost like vibes seem very good in that room right now. Definitely have no interest in stepping in front of Tampa Bay, though. Like this team is just on another level right now in the East. So not trying to bet the Islanders despite Tampa's injuries. Interesting that a lot of the guys who were injured for Tampa, like the Hedmans and McDonoughs, Cernaks, all these guys, a lot of them were on the ice today for the optional skate. So I don't think anyone big is returning, but like something to just kind of keep in mind and maybe look for in warmups, or maybe if Cooper's going to talk at one point, although I don't think that's likely now that it's been a while. So I think maybe just see if Hedman or some of these guys happen to just be on the ice for warmups, or McDonough, maybe there's something there. I think if they get McDonough back, I would look towards an under here, because the Islanders have been playing a lot better defensively, and we're going to get Vasilevsky and Sorokin. So nothing right now, but if we do get a surprise guy back in this game on the blue line for Tampa, might get me on an under.
Might swing you towards that minus 114 under over at FanDuel. So Money, you like the under in this game without that information? You're smirking a little bit here. You got to play?
Yeah, I bet the under here.
Okay.
So, Alex touched on it. My edge here is how much better the Islanders are playing defensively the last little bit, and in contrast to Boston, who's not playing well and getting results here and there, the Islanders are playing very well and they're not getting results at all. So I think that there's no reason for me to think that they're not going to continue their strong defensive play. And we know Tampa Bay is strong defensively anyways. So Sorokin, Alex touched on it. Sorokin will be in net. He had a little bit of a tough start by his standards this year, but he's really turned it around as well. He had a bad game last game against Boston. That's been the only blemish the last actually quite a bit here. So I like Sorokin to bounce back. We know what we're going to get from Vasilevsky. Islanders are playing well defensively, and we kind of have a good idea about what we're going to get from Tampa Bay defensively as well. So it's all lining up. Flat 6 on the under, and I think that should be juiced under 6 at least, or a 5.5 there. So that's where my perceived edge comes in.
All right, -114 at FanDuel is a play under 6. Under 6 in this game, Tampa Bay and New York Islanders. Let's talk Ottawa and Montreal, and we will save the chat some yapping by going to So Money first. Almost the pick 'em in this game, -114 for Ottawa. Montreal at home, -105 on the money line here. Totals at 6, juice towards the over, -118. So Money. Any play in this game?
I do. Yeah. So I did bet the under here. Plus money. It looks scary on the surface, but both of these teams are coming off horrific defensive performances. Both of these teams, they want to play better defensively. Ottawa has the horses to do so. Montreal is trying to play better defensively. Hopefully they get the goaltending. But in this kind of situation, what I'm looking for is if both teams' identity right now is to play stronger defensively, they're both trying to get there, and they're both coming off terrible defensive performances. Usually in cases like that, you'll have a slower pace game. And I think that both teams are not only comfortable, but wanting to play that way as well. So I think that at the plus money under 6, you have to ask yourself where this would have been a week ago. And I don't think we would have gotten that number. So the under 6 on the plus money is where I bet it.
All right, under 6 plus money here. We just saw it. The plus money on the boards, -104 at FanDuel, but you can find the plus monies out there. Alex, I'll let you talk about your team for a little bit. Break down this matchup.
Yeah, it's a strong lean for me on the under. We did see a lot better from Montembeault last game too. And if that's a sign of what's to come, if him figuring out his game, like sometimes that's all it is for these goalies. Like, I mean, so many can attest to that, being, a goalie himself and the Canucks e-bug. You sometimes just need like one game to just get your head back into it, like one good performance. And it's like all of a sudden, like all the demons of, the first 2 months of the season are gone. And hopefully that's the case for Montembeault. If that is the case, I think you can see him going a little bit of a run here. I very much agree with the approach, and that like Montreal just coming up a bad defensive game, they're going to want to tighten things up significantly. That is going to be an emphasis for them. And Ottawa needs to get back to the way they, want to play, which is strong defensive hockey, because they have coming off, losses in 3 of their last 4, and they're struggling a little bit. So I think that's going to be a point of emphasis for them. I would lean towards the Habs in this game, but I do think it is a little bit of a tough spot coming back off that road trip, first game back home. So I'm going to just pass ultimately. I do agree with the under. I just didn't quite bet it myself. Just still seeing that the Habs are a little bit too leaky right now on the back end. So I would like to see them tighten things up a little bit more. And I just don't fully have faith in Montembeault yet.
All right. Out of curiosity, how happy are you with Martin St. Louis as the head coach? How long do you think his run should be? It feels like this team is like he's a good coach for like a young team where they're like kind of a high-powered offensive team, but like maybe to shore things up defensively, they're going to need to make a change, or he's going to have to make a stylistic change at some point. Any opinion there on St. Louis as the head coach?
Yeah, honestly, you bring up a good point, because I think Marty's a really good coach for this group. I had my doubts about him early on, especially last year, at the start of last season. There were a lot of things I think he could have done differently and could have done better, but he is extremely well-spoken, which I think is important, especially with the media in Montreal. He is very transparent, and he is very honest in his assessment of his team and of himself, but he's not one to throw these young guys under the bus either, which I think is very important for the development. He's a guy who's been through every stage of like life as an NHL player, in terms of, being a guy who was small, undersized, and not drafted, no chance to really break into the league. He knows what it's like to kind of get your footing, and then once you got your footing, to establish yourself and take that next step, and then to be a superstar in this league, and then to win in this league. So like, he's just a great role model for this team. I do agree that it's very hard though for some of these guys, especially when you're like not so much friends with these guys, but when you're coaching a young team with less expectations, like they had kind of last year and the year before, it's hard to then transition to like being the bad guy and, helping them take the next step. So whether he can be the guy to help them over the hump to like go from, feisty, scrappy underdogs fighting for a playoff spot to like contending, that remains to be seen. I don't think you see too many guys in this league that kind of stay with teams long enough to go through that full life cycle, but we'll see. Systematically, I do think there are some issues, but also like no Caden Gooley is a big loss for them on the back end too. So like I'm willing to kind of reserve judgment. So honestly, I think he's good for them right now. I think he's in no danger of losing his job. They could go on a terrible run, and I still don't think he's anywhere close to getting fired. So doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think he's got the rest of the season. And then once expectations start to rise, like next year especially, then there may be a little bit more pressure if they struggle. But for now, he's as safe as could be, and I think that he's earned that.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that he should get fired this year. I just like again projecting 3 years out. Just wanted to get a take on that, just so we can put it in the vault and talk about it maybe 2-3 years down the road. Next game I want to talk about here is the Leafs and Panthers. Too short on the Panthers. I'm going to say the market is wrong here. Too short on the Panthers. Panthers minus 164 right now. Total is at 6.5, minus 118 towards the under. Leafs got tough news today. Brandon Carlo out long term. Chris Tanev out long term. Well, we knew that they were going to be out, but just longer than I think people were expecting. Alex, I know the Leafs are your second favorite team, or at least favorite team to talk about. So I'll let you lead on this one. Anything you like in this game? Do you feel like Florida Panthers are like slightly mispriced here? Maybe like a little too cheap? A little bit of a discount here after Cyber Monday?
I do think Florida's a little bit mispriced. But I think that they're too big of favorites a little bit here.
Okay.
I think that Toronto is not a good hockey team, but Florida's still... It's a big price tag against a Leafs team that is getting healthier. They're getting good goaltending, and Florida's still extremely, extremely banged up right now. So I didn't bet the Leafs. I definitely lean that way. I think it's something that I'd be close to betting. There was potential maybe after they called up a forward this morning that maybe Reinhart, who had missed a couple of practices, maybe Reinhart wasn't going to play. Doesn't seem like that's the case. Maurice said he's fine. So I thought there was a chance I'd bet that, but I did bet an over. It's so far gone at this point, though, that I think you just have to kind of wait and see if it comes back. 6 minus 120. If we can get more Florida under money closer to post, I think that would be good. Look, Florida generating a lot right now. Offensively, they've been a lot better. Leafs offensively have been a lot better, and they are still a funnel defensively. So these Leafs overs are getting enticing to me again as they get guys back up front and are able to actually start scoring goals again, because that was kind of the issue and why I stayed off them for a while. But with Nylander now, no concerns over his health. I know there was some questions for a little bit there. He's back. Nye's back. Matthew's back. I do like these Leafs overs quite a bit because they're able to push the pace and get their opportunities and bury their opportunities, but they are just completely unable to prevent teams from doing whatever they want offensively. And Florida's been doing that to everyone right now. So I like the over here. I wouldn't bet it at the current prices, but I think there's still a chance with how Florida unders have been getting back closer to post that it'll come back and we can get it over. Yeah,
I always look at this Florida team and just keep reminding myself they have like 3 top 9 forwards on the IR and top 4 defensemen, and I'm just like, it just feels like this NHL season's a little bit bleak if they're able to squeak into the playoffs, which they seem like they probably will be. So, Money, do you think Florida is mispriced as well? Who do you agree with here, myself, or do you agree with Alex?
So even with all of Florida's injuries right now, I'm more inclined to side with Jason on this one. I think that Florida is a little bit short in my eyes, but it's still not enough for me to make a bet on it. I think that they're starting to play better. Just gonna pull up the chart here. I know that they've lost a couple of games, but I didn't think that they looked bad in losing those games. Philadelphia, we talked about how that could have been a tricky situation for them last week, and then against Calgary, I thought that there was a ton of bad luck there in losing that game against the Flames. So we know that that they're undermanned right now. But it's a matter of, are the Leafs good enough to take advantage of that? And in terms of the pricing, that's not something that I want to get involved with.
All right. Pass for you guys again. Well, I'm going to make this an official Jason play. The first ever Jason play on the show. I'm going to take Florida at minus 164.
The old reverse jinx from Jason here, eh?
Honestly, like I don't think that the Leafs win. This is good for me. We need to finish in that one. We only have room to finish in that 1 to 5 spot. We're not making the playoffs this year. I'm not confident at all in that, especially if Tanev and Carlo are like the way it makes it seems. It's almost like they might be out for the season. And if that happens, this team is screwed, very screwed. So, anyways, we'll save the Leafs talk radio for a little bit later, or just never on the show. Calgary taking on Nashville as the next game I got on the board here. Nashville minus 115. Totals at 5.5. Juice towards the over minus 120. So money. I'll let you lead. What do you like in this game?
I played Calgary. I like them. They're still plus money. Not much to say here except Calgary. They were playing well, and in the last couple of games they've struggled. But I mean, they also played in Florida and in Carolina too, and then now we're taking a drastic step down playing Nashville. So I think that as long as Calgary can keep their level, I think that's going to be good enough to beat Nashville, a team that I don't think either of us are particularly high on. They did come through for us losing against Winnipeg, so they did their job for us on a Saturday there. But it's not a team that I just think that Calgary shouldn't be plus money here. So yeah, just in terms of the pricing, I've got Calgary here.
All right, you got Calgary here. Alex, I saw you shaking your head in the back. You agree?
Yeah, I do. I do. I like Calgary. I feel it's crazy that we've come to this point where we got the Devin Cooley start, and I'm like, okay, thank God, good. Now I'm good for Calgary. Yeah, like he's literally taken over the starting job from Dustin Wolf, who had like the best rookie goalie season we've seen in a long time. And Wolf has been bad this year, and Cooley has been incredible. Like every single start he's made this season, he has a positive GSAX. And he is at, in his last 4 games, he's at like, it's math that I can't do that quickly off the top of my head, but like basically like 7 goals saved above expected. He's just been lights out. He's basically taken this crease over. And yeah, this is going to feel like a walk in the park for the Flames, who are a team that I've been wanting to bet on, and I love the way they've been playing. And now we're getting, I think, too big of a discount on them because they've had some rough outings, but they literally just played at Tampa, at Florida, at Carolina. I mean, I think I think a lot of teams would struggle in a gauntlet of a road trip like that. So now coming to Nashville, Nashville team that's just back from their road trip and dealing with a few injuries of their own. I like this spot for Calgary, and I bet the Flames.
All right, betting the Flames here. So double best bet on the board for the boys. Plus money is what we're looking for. FanDuel has a minus 104, but there's plus 100 basically widely across the board. So yeah, go scoop that up at plus 100 there for Calgary. All right, on to the next game. So money.
Can we go to the Canucks game next, please?
I was about to go to the Canucks game, and I'll throw to you first. Canucks, Avalanche. What's talk us through this? What do you see money coming in on? What do you like? I know you want to fire up.
Yeah, right I bet the under earlier, and I think it's good right now. So the reason I want to come to this game first is that McKinnon was just upgraded. I mean, he was always going to play, but he was officially upgraded as well, and that for a little bit there that ticked the total up, and then now it just created a situation where we need to bet it now. So so the under 6.5, we're gonna bet that. Colorado scares me. They're one of those teams that if they want to put up a 7th spot on the Canucks tonight, they will. But I just don't see why they would want to. I think that they're going to continue playing their strong defensive game. And I think the Canucks, they'd be well advised not to be messing around defensively tonight. And I think that there is a focal point in that dressing room right now that they need to start playing better defensively, better team defense. That's something that kind of showed up against the Kings They were a bit lucky there as well. So I think as long as they've got that focal point, I think that's where the edge is going to be. Of course, it's scary because you see a team like Colorado, even when they don't want to try to score 7, and they want to just get through the game, they still end up scoring 7. So like they did against Montreal. So I mean that's just something that you look at the number 6.5. We know Colorado plays strong defensively. We know that the Canucks are trying to make it a focal point. So that's where my edge comes in here.
All right. Under 6.5 -110. Get on that because it might be coming down a little bit more. Alex, what are your thoughts on this game?
I agree. I liked the look of it, and I had it circled, hoping that McKinnon would maybe not play, but then obviously McKinnon's in, and now Nichushkin is also back, so it's like it's just scary because there's potential. Obviously, like someone said, they want to score 7. They can. Typically, a spot where I would have been betting. I've been betting a lot of Avs unders and a lot of Canucks overs, but Canucks games have kind of trended a bit more low event lately. That being said, they also just played San Jose and LA. So like how much of it is a product of who they've been playing? Now Colorado, another team where they easily could be a low event game where Colorado just gets that 2-3-0 lead and then they pack it in. But I maybe I'm scarred from just sitting through a game on Saturday, watching them get a 2-3-0 lead and just keep scoring and keep scoring and keep scoring. And then that opens things up a little bit. So I agree with the look, but I didn't bet it. It's the only way I could bet this game. But I'm gonna sit it out. A little bit of interest right now in Avs -1.5. Now that we got Nichushkin back as well. But it's just such a big number in this league. Like it's hard to do that in the NHL in the regular season. So just gonna, again, not force it, boring, but gonna sit this one out as well.
All right, 3 games left. Under a half play. Under a 1.5 plays from Alex is currently live. Live total right now, or live odds right now is at like -250. So we'll see if that can come home for the squad because I just clicked it.
Well, technically, there's been 2. I did say that I like the over, and just you missed it. You just missed it. The over in Florida, Toronto. But
okay.
But again, I guess that's fair. It's not an actionable play right now. So
Non-action. Yeah. Wait.
that.
What? That's what,
Yeah,
what
it's
are you
not
doing?
actionable
What are you doing
right
with
now.
the technicalities right now? That's crazy stuff. All right. Let's talk Minnesota and Edmonton. Boards. Why is everything coming off for me here? Anyways, Minnesota -146. On the money line, Edmonton -146 on the money line at home. Minnesota +122. Totals at 6.5, -130 towards the under, 5.5 ish, 6-ish, -120 towards the over. So like a little bit of an in between 6.25 number there. Alex, let you lead. Do you got to play here?
I don't. So yeah, your under 1.5 is looking decent for now, at least. This is I can't bet Edmonton. I'm getting to a point where like I'm starting to actually be like Edmonton doesn't deserve any of these price tags. Like I don't want to consider any of these Edmonton priors at all because like they're actually maybe just not good. And ultimately, I do think they'll be fine, not good, but I think they'll be fine enough to like whatever make the playoffs and try and do what they do. But I'm really starting to sour on this team. They've got some injuries up front now too, to an already very, very thin group with Kapanen and Roslovic. But like I haven't seen Minnesota play good hockey. They've just been like getting wins because they've just had outstanding goalie performances. So I'm not really ready to bet the Wild at this number either. I would lean over just because Minnesota's basically a fire drill right now on their own end, and their games have been crazy high event, and Edmonton's games have been pretty high event as well. But again, Edmonton's forward injuries and Wallstedt in net, and just like him being on the heater that he's on, he just got named Rookie of the Month. Obviously, he's been incredible. So it's enough to scare me off. And again, just not forcing it here. Boring, but it's just a really quiet day betting wise for me right now.
All right. You've mentioned that -1 or the under 1.5 -250. We're seeing some movement, some money coming in on the under right now. So money. Let's talk us through this game. You got to play for this one.
I don't have a play. I do agree with Alex.
Okay.
I think that the last few games here, Minnesota has been very poor defensively. They've been they've been getting outstanding goaltending from both guys. So that's kind of masked a lot of their issues. And for Edmonton, Edmonton's a team that really wants to try to play better defensively, but they just may not have the horses here. I did bet the under on them on Saturday, and I felt I was a little bit fortunate to get out of that game with the under. So I can't play the over with the way that Minnesota's goaltenders are playing, even though they're not good defensively right now. Edmonton, I really, really want to believe in Edmonton, but as Alex said, they're making it very, very hard for us. So I will pass on this game ultimately, but I am curious to see how this game goes. But yeah, I want to have a play on it.
Connor in our chat saying they've been our Oilers the past 2 postseasons, but he says he's over this team. I'm willing to bet that you guys are going to be all the way back in come mid-January on this Oilers team, because I know this Oilers team. Every time they push you out, they find a way to just pull you back in.
So,
and I think it's coming soon.
They weren't our Oilers in the first round last year. They were our Kings.
Okay,
we were big on the Kings, all of us, and then Quinton Byfield didn't clear the puck with 30 seconds left, and then the Oilers won that game. That ended everything.
We had the sweep there as well, and we came so close to the sweep as well.
Yeah.
Well,
and then we just gave in, and then they were our Oilers, and then they let us down again. So yeah, just frustrating. I'm sure they'll be fine. I do think they're going to be completely fine to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think they're going to be our Oilers at any point, because there's a couple other teams in the West. I mean, the Avs are just so good that I have so much Avs stuff at this point that I've just added conference wise and cup wise that it's gonna be fun cheering for a team that's actually good.
Yeah, I'm gonna
just rely on 2 guys.
Gonna pat you on the back here, Alex, because you did come on here on preseason, and the under points Stanley Cup winners look really good for Florida and Edmonton right now. Will they do it? Who knows? But some pretty incredible.
Doesn't matter though, because nothing's going to win, because the Avs are going to go over their point total by 30, and they're going to win the cup.
Yes.
So it is what it is.
All right, but still, you got some good CLV on it. It's don't say there's no chance of it happening, because I've learned recently that a lot of people don't like when you say that. So yeah, even though there's no chance. Bobby's not going to win, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to burst the bubble. I don't care what these polls say. He's not going to win. He's not going to win. It doesn't matter what the polls say. Anyways, so Money, do you have a Heisman bet at all? I'm sure you do.
No, but I might bet Pavia. But no.
You're just here's the thing. You guys are betting on 2 teams that are the best in the country to essentially do nothing. So if that can happen, fine. If that's how I lose, fine. I'm okay with that.
I did have a Heisman bet coming into the season. It was the Clemson QB.
Oh, I don't know. The Clemson's been terrible.
Cade Klubnik.
Klubnik. Yeah, they've been terrible this year.
Yeah. So nobody wants my Heisman bets.
Honestly, I guess you should bet Pavia then, for my sake. Let's talk Chicago and Vegas Golden Knights. Let's get back on track here. 2 games left. Quick reminder: smash the like button, goes a long way. Vegas -2.5 on. Sorry, -28. Oh my goodness. -285 on the money line. Jeez, whoa.
Too much screen time.
Yeah. Anyways, -285 on the money line here. +230 for the Chicago Blackhawks on the money line. Totals at 6. -124 towards the over. So Money, I'll throw it to you as I kind of rewire my brain for a second. Anything you like in this game?
I do like the over, but I haven't bet it, and I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to. There's a lot of speculation here, right? Like Carter Hart's going to play here, and I mean, how long has he been out? And Chicago loves we know how Chicago loves to play, and Vegas hasn't been that impressive defensively either. So I think that this could be a game where we see goals, but again, there's a lot of speculation, and if I'm going to speculate, I don't want to lay a juice 6 right now, or even a 6.5. So for that reason, I'll pass. If I'm able to get a cheaper 6, I'll do that. But I'm not going to lay the juice on me speculating.
All right. Quickly, Alex, if you have nothing for this game, I just want to throw back to the Dallas game, because it is confirmed that Ottinger is out, if that changes any opinion for you guys.
No, yeah, that was confirmed. It was confirmed earlier.
All right, my bad.
A lot earlier, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Chat got me. All right, Alex, you can talk about this
You got
Vegas
got.
game now. You can talk about this Vegas.
Got your culture, man.
It's gone too far.
Dallas is getting cheaper still, though.
Yeah, they are getting cheaper, and I'm getting interested a little bit now. I don't know. Chicago, I agree with so many that the over is attractive here, and that Chicago's been playing some pretty high event games again. Defensively, they're just such a mess. The team is not good. Like, this team is not good. I'm sorry to Jordan.
Careful.
They're not a good hockey team. They are going to be in the lottery again, and that's fine. Some young pieces are giving them a lot more reason for optimism, at least, which is encouraging. That's what you want to see. They weren't supposed to be competitive this year, but yeah, not a good hockey team. Market agrees with that, though. Spencer Knight scares the hell out of me betting overs because he's just so good. And Vegas does have the tendency to just kind of suck the life out of games, but they are playing higher event right now. And Carter Hart has not played a game in this league since, 2023-24 season. And he did not look great in the AHL either. So there's potential for this to go a little haywire. But again, you want to see it first. And I'm not gonna bet on a hunch. In what could end up being a much better goaltending matchup than we thought with Spencer Knight, and if Carter Hart does end up, playing really well. So, again, not forcing it here, not betting anything.
All right, passing it on that one as well. Let's close this one out with Washington and LA. Kings minus 118 at home. On the money line, totals at 5.5, minus 114 towards the over. Alex, I'll let you close this one out. I'll let you lead with it. Talk us through this one.
So I will likely have a bet on this game.
You forced that. You forced that just to screw over the chat who was clicking the under 1.5. That is crazy town. All right, keep going.
I will bet this game almost no matter what, depending on like something crazy happening before we get a goalie announcement. But I will bet an over if it's Charlie Lindgren, because there's strong potential, I think, for Lindgren here, where they've been alternating. They've been going 2 Thompson, 1 Lindgren quite frequently, not always. So I'm not close to saying it's like 100% we're going to get Lindgren. I think more it's like a 65-35 type of Lindgren situation. If we do get Lindgren, I will bet an over because they are playing some really, really high event hockey right now. And I can't get behind a 5.5 in general. The Kings are a little bit more trending under team again. So like, I'm not going to force it with Thompson, but I'd even lean that way with Thompson. With Lindgren, it's definitely a go. If it's Thompson, I'll be betting the Caps, assuming that the plus monies are still there, because I'm not fully bought into what we've seen from LA still. They're not necessarily playing great and winning these games. They're just kind of getting by a little bit, and schedule wise, that's helped them. They haven't had the toughest schedule either. I like what I'm seeing from Washington. I think this is a really good hockey team still. And if Logan Thompson's in net and we're getting plus money on the Caps, then I'll go. So just kind of waiting right now because we don't know who's going to start. But eventually when we get that confirmation, I'm going to be betting this probably one way or the other, assuming some crazy poorly timed money doesn't come into the market before we can get a confirmation.
So technically not an official bet.
Technically not an official bet.
Yeah. All right, going to see how they grade that one out. So Money, do you agree? Are you waiting for the news before you bet anything here? Or?
I do have an official bet already in this game.
Okay.
I bet the Kings. I like them up to minus 120. Obviously, hoping that Thompson doesn't start, but even if he does, I still like the Kings here. I'm starting to come around on the Kings. I haven't done a full 180 yet, but I'm slowly making the turns towards that. I like the way that they've been playing defensively. I like the way that they've kind of structured their game to kind of mask the back end of their D. And that was my problem with them coming into the season. And they're starting to play around that. So credit to the coaching staff, credit to the players for starting to buy in. I am starting to like the way that this team is playing. in terms of the pricing of this game, because I think that the Kings are on their way up, and because I think that Washington has not played particularly well, especially defensively, as Alex touched on, I think that Thompson has masked a lot of their deficiencies. That's where my edge comes in, that I think that the Kings, based on where I see them projected in the next couple of weeks, they're too short. And I think that in 2 weeks, we don't get this number anymore on the Kings in this game. So that's where I need to take advantage of that now.
All right. Kings it is, minus 118, and that closes out what we bet today. Quickly, I'll run through the recap here. Lightning, Islanders, under 6, minus 114 is what we're looking for. Senators, Habs, under 6, minus 104. Toronto and Florida, this is a Jason play. Florida, minus 164. Calgary, plus 100 on the money line. Vancouver, Colorado, under 6.5, minus 110. Then Washington, LA, Kings, minus 118 on the money line. Before we head out, question from the chat. Let's see, where is this? I thought I saw it earlier here. Is someone asking about betting the Avs to have the most wins this year or break the regular season points record. I can't remember what it was, but this is available on FanDuel. It's a pretty hefty price. 22 to 1, 136 plus points is what they're gonna need. Feels like a lot.
They're on pace to beat it right now. I
Yeah.
know they're on pace to beat it by like 3 points or so. I think they definitely can. I just don't see why they'd want to or why they'd need to, especially with like guys like Landeskog who have battled injuries, and Makar hasn't exactly been like the picture of health in his career. I mean, 22 to 1, it's not something that I can like necessarily fully price out because there's a lot of like external factors that come into it. But I would say it's probably not like a terrible bet, but I don't think they do it.
22 to 1. So money, what are your thoughts?
So I'm going to compare this to our OKC to break the record bet. I think that there's a similar situation in that both teams at this moment, they're just head and shoulders above the rest of the league. The difference is OKC is a young team, and they're a bunch of kids that are just crazy enough to try to go for it right now. Whereas Colorado, they're a more veteran team. They have a we've seen the adjustment in their play this year, right? Like the complete buy-in defensively. Generally, if you're a team that's buying in defensively like that, you're also theoretically not going to be wanting to kind of push it for records and stuff like that. So I just don't see any reason why they would want to. But let's cheer for the Thunder doing it, though.
All right, yeah, let's cheer for the Thunder for sure. Also, the tough part here for the Avs is a lot of their veterans will probably be playing. It's brought up in the chat here from
The
Mike.
Olympics.
Yeah, Olympics, and then when they come back,
Right.
how much management do they want to give them leading up to the playoffs? Where considering
Yeah, that's a good point.
they'll probably be like locked into the playoffs at that point. So
Also, a team that's I think this bears mentioning too, a team that's won the cup before. So a lot of their guys know what it takes to go and win the cup, and like how grueling like a playoffs can be when you have to go 4 rounds. So like definitely an element of not necessarily take your foot off the gas, but like they're aware of, hey, we don't need to we're not worried about messing up our rhythm or messing up whatever. Like we just want to keep ourselves as in best possible shape we can be for the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's I think you guys nailed it there. Shout out to Jordan for that question. Always here to stimulate the show and stimulate the chat. Jordan, or sorry, Connor, sorry,
Oh boy,
giving the attribution a little wrong there. Sorry, Connor. Appreciate you. Anyways, that wraps up.
Too much stimulation there for you.
All right, you guys are out. I'm kicking you out. Have a good rest of the day. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
See you guys.
All right, awesome stuff there from the Edgework crew. Appreciate you guys talking about stimulation and edging. As always, is the Tuesday and Thursday show. Sorry, Connor. I see you dropping the questions. I'm sorry. Before we head out, you want to do guess the line? So let's.
We'll do.
Let's fire it up here. Let's fire it up here.
I had time to change some things around,
Okay.
obviously. So
Sweet.
we're gonna bring it up on screen here today. Let's see if it's the right one, and it is. Okay. So, do you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So I had like sides and totals and stuff, and I was like, this guy's gonna hit them all. Like I had Toronto and Florida total. You nailed it over 6.5. I had Kansas City and Houston. Nailed it. It's at 3.5 right now.
Yeah.
And I still kept PRA for Brandon Ingram. But
Okay.
we're gonna put your knowledge to the test here. So we're gonna start with Brady Tkachuk. I think this is third game back off injury.
Okay.
So we're gonna go and look at his shots on goal prop. Over under and what do you think? His
Okay,
numbers
so
are?
is it juiced over or juiced under?
It's juiced under.
Juiced under. Okay, so I'm gonna guess it's at 4.5.
Close. It's 3.5.
Okay.
Juiced towards the under minus 140.
All right. I want
that was
chat
a good one though.
Yeah, I want chat to play along with me just because I know Tkachuk is just like a pad stuffer, Corsi merchant. So like I know that he loves to get his shots on goal close to the goal here. So yeah, let's get chat. I want to see you guys get involved in this as well. Is that Jamison Williams?
That is Jamison
Receiving
Williams,
yards.
and we're going to be
God.
looking at his receiving yards. Now, keep in mind what you were talking about earlier with injury news and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
as of right now on FanDuel, because we love FanDuel so much, I'll give you a little hint. Actually, no, it'll give it away.
Yeah, no hint here. Receiving yards over under. Here's the thing with Jamison Williams. He's a big play guy. He was probably lined around the 40s-ish before Amon-Ra was out. I want to say it's in the mid-60s, but I feel like it's probably going to be a little higher. I want to go 65.5 for Jamison Williams.
Way off. He's listed right now
80?
at 79.5, which is the highest target right now for a player receiving over CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
Really? Okay, that shocks me a little bit.
CeeDee Lamb 78.5, and yeah.
I might take that under there. But also considering how
The
few
game he had
options
last
they
week
have.
was crazy. He broke 100 yards.
Yeah. I just don't. Anyways, I don't see that. Gonna be betting that under for sure.
Right.
This is the one I'm probably gonna not get. But points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah, so this
For
one has
Brandon
been on the graphics since yesterday. I didn't change it at all. So let's go to PRA combos.
Yeah.
Give me a number while I get this lineup here.
Okay, so let me just talk through Brandon Ingram. I should know this one because I do top down NBA, and I might be way off here, but I remember seeing Ingram. I know Ingram gets a lot of points and rebounds. I don't think he's much of an assist guy. I don't know if there's any injuries in this game. I don't know if anyone's ruled out.
As of right now, I mean, Scotty Barnes is in, IQ's still in. So, I mean,
Is 38.5 a crazy number for points, rebounds, and assists? Am I way off here? I feel like I might be way off.
I mean, to some people, you might be way off. I'm going to say it's juiced towards the under, so that'll
Okay.
help you out.
Is this am I too low or too high?
You're a little bit high.
Okay, 30.5?
Higher.
Okay, well, that 38.5.
Because he's a point getter, right?
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
a couple
So-
of rebounds. He doesn't really pass the ball
So
that much.
34.5?
There you go, right on the money. Bang.
Okay. All right. I thought 30.5 was pretty good there.
Scotty Barnes just went up to 33.5.
Wow. All right.
But yeah,
All right. Good stuff. I thought he did pretty decent. The Jamison Williams one though
it's
is
crazy.
pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I initially thought 8. Like I was thinking all right, he's got to be in the 80s, but I'm like that feels like a little too high. Maybe but yeah, no Khalif Raymond, no Brock Wright, no Sam Laporte. Like there's just
Jameer Gibbs
nothing.
coming out of the backfield with
Yeah.
receiving yards. He's priced at like 33.5 right now.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd be looking. Maybe we'll talk about that on
Yeah.
Thursday for the Thursday night football game. Anyways,
All
appreciate you guys joining the show. Do us a favor, smash the like button before you head out. And if you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. All that stuff goes a long way here on the channel. If you're watching on Twitter, you guys are more than welcome to watch on Twitter, but just once this week. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, just come over and just double check, make sure you're subscribed. Really does help us out. We're almost at 4,200 subscribers. We're I think 3 away. So if some of you might think you're subscribed, you might actually not be. So just pop in, take a look. And while you're there, hit the like button for us as well. Anyways, tomorrow, Wednesday show, we got a good one for you. Going to be back here live at noon Eastern. I believe Mr. Peanut Butter will be on, and we will definitely be talking about Pavia and the Heisman. And Kirk Evans will also. So this is a Heisman-centric show. So should be a fun one there. Anyways, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Let us know in the comment section down below. So let us know in the chat as well. This has been the Tuesday, December 2nd edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys right here tomorrow.